Okay, everybody ready? Okay, good first scrimmage, 123 plays. We started out the scrimmage with live field goal block, which is always good. It's good for the kickers. We did 3 live reps of punt return to gather information for that. And like I said, 123 plays. We really pretty much the 1s, 2s, and 3s got pretty much equal reps, right around that 40 play total. The first half, our defense, we were very basic, so we could just, who can tackle, who can block, who can hold on the ball, all that. Second half, it was more pressure. There were some good things that happened. Really what stood out to me, big picture, the defensive line really was active. They knocked a lot of balls down. There was some sacks. They really came off and read some screens well. That's really what stood out to me defensively. Offensively, Jacoby Jones had 2 touchdowns, a new receiver, super job with that. Grant Stevens had a touchdown. The good thing for the offense is there was 0 turnovers. Now, obviously, the defense, we're talking turnovers. We got to get the ball. But the offense had 0 turnovers and had 5 penalties, though. There was a lot of penalties, 18 total penalties, 5 for the offense, 13 for the defense. We talked hard about pre-snap penalties, being disciplined, everything. And we got to do a better job in that. When you let everybody play, obviously things happen like that, but we got to really, from a big picture standpoint, that'll be the emphasis moving forward. What is that, 6 days down? I think we're in a good spot. We're straining the guys. We were physical all, the padded days. That's what we need, trying to get that good hard-nosed edge. Our guys are starting to learn, how to practice, the expectation each day with that, and been getting better with that. And I don't believe there was any, serious injuries, with that. That's always something you worry about. And we let our quarterbacks go live, all but KJ and Dylan. The other 3 went live. It's always good to see, how they react, and it's a completely different feel, and it's also really good for the defense. Questions?
Coach, you said you were disappointed with penalties on that defensive side, but can you really see how all those transfers are kind of working into the mix? And I know you talked about stopping the run was a huge focus during the offseason. Can you kind of see that coming together?
Oh, yeah. We got more playmakers on defense. The first half, like I said, we played base defense, and so we can make sure and see who can block and tackle. A lot of pressure, a lot of blitzes. Ted Roof is an aggressive kind of guy, and they had a lot of TFLs when that happened, had sacks. So there was a lot of good things. Like I said, the defensive line, first defensive line, was very, very active today.
Gus, you look at the quarterback room, and you have mentioned that KJ obviously and Dylan were without contact. What have you seen from that group, and how do you kind of feel that the development of the rosters?
Yeah, I really wish we could have KJ go live. Obviously we're not going to do that, but that's when he's at his best and all that. But it's good to see him out there taking charge. He's a veteran guy, you can see, and the communication between the quarterback and the coach. That was our first scrimmage. We didn't do much. It was just I tried not to overdo it, but it was really good for the young quarterbacks, I felt like, with that. But we're gathering information on all the guys behind KJ each practice. We're trying to figure out the order and everything that goes with it. We got some good information today, obviously, with the guys that went live.
Coach, obviously you mentioned the information gathering stage. With the running backs, though, you're pretty sure you got a pretty good pin there. With that in mind, having a running back pin like that, how much does that help these new players or the defensive front in general get better at stopping the run?
Get Penny Boone out there. He made some, he's a downhill guy. Now he's going forward no matter how many guys. It's good with that. Myles Montgomery had a big-time day today. He had like an 80-yard touchdown call back, but, man, he's got a lot of winter in him. He's off to a great start camp-wise. Johnny is Johnny. He did his thing, and so Cam Ingram did a good job. He had a 4th and 1 that, man, it wasn't there, and he found a way to get it, by about a half a yard. So the good thing is we got depth in the running back room. You can't have enough depth in a running back room.
Thursday, you talked about the motto toughen together. Over this first week, how have you seen tough play out on the field?
We're getting better. We're not there yet, but we're getting better. It's a process. We got so many new guys, and like I said last year, we were soft as butter, and that's on me. And so it's a process every single day, and we'll keep doing that until we get there.
You mentioned Jacoby Jones. I know he's coming back from a season-ending injury at Ohio, so how's he looking physically, and how's he fitting with the scheme, considering he came in just over the
Here's
spring
what's standing
window?
out to me so far. He wants to be good. He's desperate to be good. And so he's still learning. I mean, he's still learning. There's a lot of install the first 6 days. It causes new guys to head spin. But the fact he came out here with the lights on and made two good plays, I think that says a lot.
Coach, you talked about opening up with special teams. You talked a little bit on media day about getting Colton back to his freshman self. Has there been any talk about maybe using a kickoff specialist this season?
We'll see. There is. Well, I mean, obviously, you know, when you're a young guy and you have to kick off and be the kicker, that is a factor. There's no doubt. A lot of times, my experience, older guys can handle it better. That was a part of the factor. There's no doubt. So that would be great if we can do that. You know, we'll be more kickoff return Saturday scrimmage, and hopefully we'll be able to have somebody, you know, help him with that. But we'll see.
Through 1 week of fall camp and now the scrimmage, what do you feel like is the biggest thing you've learned about the team as a whole?
You know, biggest thing, big picture, is we have a lot of guys that's real important to, and I really believe they're trying to be coached and try to do what their coaches are asking them, and that's very encouraging to me.
You mentioned Jacoby. Was there any other receiver that stood out today or this week?
No,
That
I mean,
caught your eye?
I just said the touchdowns. I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of good. There was some bad, had some drops, all that, but no one, you know, I will say this. I should say this. Xavier Townsend, I mean, when he gets the ball down the field, good things happen, and he made a big-time explosive play in a situation where the defense had won the last 2 series, and I think it was a third down or a second long, one or the other, and he made one of those, you know, plays that can kind of swing the momentum. You know, he's starting to establish himself as not just one of our better receivers, but one of our better players.
Gus, when you look at last year and a couple of years in the past, you were giving some load management to some of the guys to make sure that, you know, they would kind of wear them out before you go into the season. Is that something you've considered maybe this fall camp with RJ?
No way. I mean, RJ, we're going to use our common sense, but let me tell you, we're going to make sure everybody has that hard edge. Everybody. So, no, like I said, last year, you know, it was on me. Hey, we're going to get our guys to the game, and we did. But at the same time, we didn't have that really disciplined, hard-nosed edge that I like once we got in the season. So, I mean, we'll use our common sense. I mean, RJ is one of the better offensive weapons in college football. Y'all know that. But at the same time, everyone has to be prepared. And it's so much about earning the guys' respect beside you. Okay, that's the most important thing. Even more important than earning your coach's respect. So we're in the process of all the players doing that.
You mentioned the performance of the defensive line today. Was it more the tackles, the ends? Like, what was kind of the
I don't know.
overall
I mean,
performance of the
it's
unit?
big picture. I mean, you just like, you know, I mean, the tough thing for KJ is not live. When he's live, it's a different story. But let me just tell you, I mean, that one defensive line was disruptive. They had a couple sacks right here. They played screens well. They ran the ball like that. They really stood out in a good way. It wasn't just like one person.
You mentioned 13 penalties. How unexpected is that for a first scrimmage?
I don't know. I mean, last year we were one of the most undisciplined teams in college football penalty-wise, so no. But, you know, the first time when you let everybody go, all right, that's what happens. And the great thing from a coach's standpoint is now we know we better address it, and that's coaching, and that's on us. So I promise you we'll do a better job each time we go out there with that. But it was the same carryover, you know, as last year as far as the penalties.
Coach, we've talked a lot about trying to bounce back from last year and your approach to this year, but what element is it also that you have horses in the stable and that this year presents a real good opportunity?
Well, first of all, we will bounce back. I promise you that. In all these things that we're addressing. What was your question?
Yeah, but just as much, how much of it is that this is also an excellent opportunity for the program this year, having all the horses in the stable, having year 2 in the Big 12?
Yeah, I mean, we got talent, but we had some talent last year. But, you know, talent don't get it done. You know, we are more talented. I will say that we got more talent than we had last year, but it's got to be that every single day being more disciplined and everything. And today, like I told him afterwards, I'm not so worried about the execution piece of this first scrimmage. It's more big picture. Man, how did the offense handle success? How'd they handle adversity? And there was times it wasn't good. All right, are they going to fold like a cheap tent, or are they going to step up and somebody lead and let's go ahead and do it? Defense, same way. There's a lot of really good things. There were some bad things. There's some long drives. How are they going to respond when they're who are the leaders that are going to step up? And really, especially with the first group, I saw good things on both sides with the first group that will help us moving forward. So that's a process, but that was really good to see how we responded.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
All right.
Coach. All right, Ricky, we just heard a little bit about the scrimmage from Coach. He said the defensive line was very disruptive. You're part of that D-line. What did you see out there in the first scrimmage?
Just guys flying around and having fun. I mean, the goal of the scrimmage for the D-line especially was to come in, just set the tone, fly around, and just, be the standard for the defense.
Ricky, Gus just talked about penalties and some of the undisciplined type of things. What are you guys noticing, and what do you guys need to do to improve those issues?
Just the small things, it's the little things that can hurt, play a big role in hurting us. So it's just working on those small things, being really attention to detail, and there's things that we definitely fix.
Ricky, Coach mentioned hard edge play being kind of the focus here in the scrimmage. One, how much of that did you see? And from your perspective in the interior line, what does hard edge play look like?
We saw a lot of it in hard edge, really just that strain, that extra effort getting to that ball and really just getting that ball carrier down.
Coach has talked about seeing how the team responds to adversity. How did you see the defense respond today?
We saw us respond just by those, us getting the third down, and then the offense, getting the first, and then us having to, rally and make the play, and then get ready for that new set of downs.
Who were some of the players that made some of those highlight-style plays for your defensive line, the sacks, the TFLs, the batting down passes? Kind of give us a sense of what the unit looked like.
Caven Call had a big sack. Lee Hunter had made a bunch of splash plays. Malachi Lawrence always making plays. I had a couple myself. So, it's just, guys all across the board making big-time plays.
With Caven specifically, can you talk about maybe the growth he's made going into year two?
Definitely. Caven really took it this past offseason and really worked. He's worked himself into the rotation. So hopefully, this season coming up, he's going to have a big year.
It's year 4 for you under Gus. What was different about today's first scrimmage versus previous years?
Definitely the physicality. I mean, we had 120 plays, and it was just all physical, really just putting the ball down and playing football.
Has anyone else stood out? You talked about some guys on the defense line. What about that back seven? Who stood out, maybe a linebacker or in that secondary?
Of course, Ethan Barr, he flies around, makes plays, everywhere. You got Pace, who, Pace is everywhere, across the field. William Wells made some big plays. Quadric Bullard, guys flying around just making plays.
What have you seen from Malachi, especially this fall camp? Obviously, taking more of a leadership role, being more vocal.
Definitely him just growing into that leadership. We lost, Tremont last year. We lost Josh Elliscar. But, Malachi, he's growing into those roles. Last year, our DNs, they were really the juice guys on the team. So, Malachi, he learned from them last year. So, he's finally starting to really step into that role and, becoming that.
Anything else? All right, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, KJ, we just heard from Gus. He said it's a little bit more difficult with you in a scrimmage setting because you're not live, and a lot of things that you do well is kind of, making plays when, you're rolling out and everything and you can't be touched. So how did you evaluate today's scrimmage for you?
We did some really good things on offense, and we did, like Coach Gus said, we got some things that we need to clean up for us penalty-wise, not hurting ourselves, have a big explosive play, and then it's coming back because of a penalty. So just making sure that we hone in on the little details that's going to make us effective and explosive moving forward. So just making sure that we clean up those details and those little mistakes.
KJ, what have you seen from the rest of the quarterbacks in your room with Dylan and the freshmen?
Those guys, they, like I said, in our quarterback room, we all love each other, and it's iron sharpening iron. We all grow and learn together. So me just being that veteran guy, just making sure that I spread some knowledge that I know from the game, and just me having that experience and making sure I'm feeding it, pouring it to those guys as well. So when they do get out there, they're not overwhelmed and they playing the best that they can play. So just making sure that I'm being that leader in that room and making sure those guys are coming along.
KJ, you've heard stuff here, either from Coach or from Ricky, about trying to get more hard edge play this year and before, and how this year may have been more physical at this point, with the scrimmage practice in the past. Is that something that you were looking to help your offense achieve? Is that something that's, with me coming in the building, that's what needs to happen? How does that make that you feel that that's achieved, that's been achieved to get that hard edge?
That hard edge, it's contagious. Once you, like me coming in, just me being able to just come in and just work, just earn the trust and respect from our teammates, and then just also having that competitive edge. I mean, it's contagious. I mean, offense guys feed off and defense guys feed off. And when both, and special teams as well, when the whole team is clicking and we all got that chip on our shoulder, we all just going out there and making sure we playing for each other and make sure that we the toughest team and the most physical team out there on Saturday.
Jacoby Jones with 2 touchdowns during this scrimmage. What's that connection like with him?
It's good. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, we call him DK. He's a big guy. So just being able to just give him an opportunity and let him go make a play on the ball. And he's coming along really well as well, just him grasping and learning the offense. So just having a guy like Jacoby that's willing to put his head down and work and just grind.
Gus had mentioned that Xavier Townsend's becoming not only one of the better receivers on the team, but also one of the better players. So working with him now for the last 7-8 months, what do you like about his game, and how are you developing trust to go his direction?
His energy. I mean, he's always positive. So just having a guy that's always positive and urgent and just want to be explosive, want to be a great guy. So just having a guy like X who's played in this offense, and he helped me along the way as well. While I was learning the offense, he helped me just showing me different things from the receiver standpoint, what they're thinking on different routes. So me just having a guy like X who's really come along this year and being more vocal. I mean, that's the main thing I like about it. Him this year is that he's being more vocal guy. He's stepping up to that leadership role in the receiver room as well.
Coach has repeatedly talked about the team taking on his personality. How has you as the quarterback and a captain on the team really helped that grow?
Just making sure that I'm being an extensive coach on the field. I mean, we were out there, coach. I mean, the coaches on the sideline, it's just us out there. So me being the captain and the leader, just making sure that I'm being an extensive coach on the field, making sure that we are meeting the standard out there and that we are growing and heading in the right direction, and also just embracing the process as well. I mean, we know it's a long journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So just making sure that we're taking the steps that we need to take and make sure that we are coming along together.
Are there any freshmen or younger guys on the team who made some plays today that impressed you?
A lot of the young guys. I mean, I can't just single anyone out because all of them stepped up in a very big way today. And I mean, that's things that you want to see, and just know that the future of the program is trending in the right direction. When those guys are, you know what I'm saying, make sure that they're watching the older guys and learning from the older guys. So when their opportunity presents itself, that they're ready when their number is called.
Obviously, the running back room is very deep, but talk about Myles Montgomery a little bit and how he's shown out, especially this fall camp specifically.
Myles just brings the competitive edge every day. I mean, he's always hard working. I mean, you cut on the film, you always see him going 110%, which is contagious, I mean, to everybody. So just having a guy like Myles in the backfield, like I said, it takes the stress off me. Just having the guy can hand the ball to him, he just go be Myles. So just having a guy like that always in a positive mindset, want to see each other succeed and things of that nature. So just having him in the backfield is amazing.
All right. Ethan, how would you evaluate this first scrimmage of the preseason?
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of good things. There's a lot of things we need to clean up, like Coach mentioned, penalties and things like that. Everything just in the small details, and I think that kind of showed up today, just focusing on the details and finding ways to fix those and correct those and move forward and just continue to improve every single day. But overall, I think we had a very physical scrimmage and got after it. So.
Ethan, Gus talked a little bit about the defensive standing out a little bit and being more aggressive. What did you see from the unit itself, and what kind of impressed you, and where do you think you need to fix some things?
Yeah, I mean, I think people came out and just were ready to fly around and get to the ball. I think we could have maybe impacted the ball a little bit more and made some plays on the ball or got the ball out. But we did have a lot of plays in the backfield, which was good for us. Yeah.
Ethan, obviously you weren't here last year, but you're hearing a lot of comparisons. You're hearing a lot of talk about how the scrimmage and maybe practices have gone. What have you heard that helps you think that this defensive front's trending in the right direction to stop the run better?
Yeah, I don't really have to hear it. I can see it every single day. Our front's doing a great job. They're getting sacks all the time. Across the board, Mally, Lee, Ricky, Caven, all those guys, they're all getting after it every single day. They come to work every single day. So it's been good play behind them and be able to, I don't have to deal with linemen very often. I get to kind of do my thing and make plays on the ball. So it's really good to see that every single day. And then the way they attack the work that's ahead of them. So.
Coaches talked about being more disciplined, but yet a lot of penalties in this first scrimmage. What was said out there on the field about that?
Yeah, it's just all about discipline. That's just what we need to focus on moving forward, is discipline in the small details. And something that's small is watching the ball and, going from third and medium to third and short or fourth and short to a conversion. That's not good. We need to make sure that we take care of our stuff and we don't beat ourselves before the play even begins. So.
A lot of new linebackers, a lot of new safeties and cornerbacks with this group. So from a back seven perspective, What's the process of building chemistry, cohesion, and communication as you get ready for when the games start to matter?
Yeah, I think it starts in the film room, watching film together, which we do every single day with the linebackers and DBs, and then coming out here and practice whenever we're doing some of our walkthrough periods, is getting the small things right every single day, and then making that translate onto the field. And really, it's all about communication. I think we've done a really good job about communicating with one another. If something's messed up, and getting it worked out, even right before the play starts or after. And so I'm really proud of the guys and the way that we've been able to communicate throughout camp and continually improving. So
A lot's been made about stopping the run, but a big part of the linebacker's job is also pass coverage. How would you self-evaluate the room's ability to do that?
yeah, I think we've improved a lot. Our team has exposed us in the past a little bit in the spring, and I think we've kind of limited some of those exposures and really honed in throughout the summer on what our pass responsibility is. Every single one of us have improved greatly in that regard. So it's been good to see every single one of our linebackers improve throughout the summer and throughout camp so far.
Was there any big defensive play today that really stood out to you or impressed you?
Man, shoot. I don't know, not necessarily one of them. I know there was just a number of batted balls down, a number of sacks, things like that, where people were just had great timing on blitzes or just getting their hands up mirroring the quarterback or just running the ball. One that comes up to me is Quadra Bowler. He had one play on the perimeter where he came down and smacked somebody. I don't even know who it was, but it was really good to see him. He's one of our most physical guys on the team. So yeah, I guess that's one that stood out.
Adding on to that, was there any other linebackers that really impressed you today or this week?
Yeah, I mean, all of them seem to impress me every single day. I think DP's always making plays. Same with Josiah. Josiah's one of our more physical guys as well, or he'd come down and he'll hit somebody. Andrew's been doing a really good job as well. So across the board, everyone has had flashes of really, really highlighted plays. So.
Coach said the one disappointing thing, I guess, defensively was too many penalties today.
Yeah.
What was that as a result of? Was it being too aggressive and jumping the line and offsides? Like, what kind of was the cause of that?
Yeah, we had a little bit of everything. Some jumping off sides, things like that. Like I said, pre-snap penalties that hurt us, and then some post-snap, just whether it be holding or whatever it was. But yeah, just we got to focus in on the little details and continue to improve.
Gus talked about wanting this team to take on his personality. Do you feel like this group has taken on Gus's personality this year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see it every single day. We have a pretty physical practice every single day. We go period to period of where we're making contact with each other and really competing and trying to get to the ball, do things on the perimeter to try and improve our play out there. And our guys are embracing it, which is really awesome. I think every single day we've seen improvements.
How much of the pre-snap penalty stuff do you attribute to guys kind of learning the timing and the precision of the blitzes and the aggression that Ted Roof's scheme demands?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it is timing and when you're timing off the center snap, like that's a big part. Today, I think it was just lack of discipline, really. So we just got to improve.
All right, Myles, we heard you had one of the bigger performances in today's scrimmage. I think you said maybe had like an 80-yard touchdown run. Maybe it was called back. We're not sure. But just how would you evaluate how you did out there today in the first scrimmage?
I feel like I did decent. I mean, as an offense, we did pretty good. I mean, obviously, everyone's talked about the penalties today. We got to eliminate those. You can't help the defense stop us, you know what I mean? So, like, as an offense, it's expected. So today we did pretty solid.
Myles, outside of penalties, was there any other issues that you feel like this offense needs to work on as you guys continue forward in camp?
No, not nothing that's like too crazy. I feel like. I mean, it's our first scrimmage, so obviously there's some things on film that we're going to fix. But I mean, penalties are the most thing. You know, it has nothing to do with skill or anything like that. It's just being disciplined at the end of the day.
Myles, let's put the coin on the other side. What did the offense do today that you feel like you're excited about, that you feel like is maybe ahead of schedule or going really well?
Times where there were some drives, everyone's been talking about the negative, but sometimes there were no penalties during the drives, and we walked right down the field, you know what I mean? So that's good. We show that we can execute at the end of the day, so I feel like that's pretty good. I mean, obviously, again, when we get into more scrimmages, hopefully this will be more and more occurring.
What's this defense been like to face?
Great. Ted Roof's scheme is very aggressive, like everyone said. Makes us better as an offense, facing the defense that's like that, sharp iron, like we talk about all the time. But, I mean, going against his defense makes it a lot more good. And hopefully when we get to the games, it makes it more easier because we're always facing those top-notch guys in that scheme.
How would you evaluate the way the running back room has come together since the spring, especially with the addition of Penny, and what has he brought to the mix with you and Johnny and with RJ?
I feel like, everyone in the room, it kind of does their own thing good. And I feel like if you put that together, it's like it's a monster. You know what I mean? Like Coach said, we're deep at running back. So I feel like we meshed that together, like you said. You know what I mean? That'll be pretty good. I feel like we're getting there. We're getting there.
Coach praised your guys' ability to respond to adversity. What's a moment that you guys responded to adversity today that really made you proud?
Like I said earlier, there were drives where we didn't have penalties. Or if there was a penalty, it was like 1 or 2, and then maybe it was just an effort penalty. It wasn't, you know what I mean? So we had some drives where there was good, some drives where they were bad, but, responding to it, like Coach said, that was what he wanted to see, and I feel like we did that today.
Was there any player on offense who really impressed you today or stood out?
No, not really. I feel like as a unit today, we did pretty good. There's some good, some bad, like I've been saying. But, it's always not on one person. You know what I mean? It's 11-man football, not just one. So I feel like as a unit today, we did pretty good.
Where do you see the biggest improvement in your game, especially from spring camp or last year to now, getting the opportunities you're getting?
That's a great question. Probably getting back in the groove running inside zone. I came from outside zone scheme. Obviously, we did that while I was a sophomore and freshman, but still, that's a big difference, big jump from doing that for a whole year and then coming back and doing inside zone again. So I feel like my patience and whatnot has helped me get those longer runs. I feel like my speed is what helps me, like that icing on the cake, you know what I mean? I find a hole, I can hit it. So, yeah, I feel like being more patient, Coach Cam has helped me out with that a lot.
How would you evaluate how the offensive line did for you today, and maybe how does that compare to, your O-line last year at Cincinnati?
Offensive lines, they're pretty good. It's an offensive line. I don't do anything. I just run through the hole. So I feel like, there's similarities there. They're always the hard-nosed, tough. That's what you want as an offensive line. So, yeah, I like where we're going. We're going to have this thing rolling this year.
You have a very veteran group, but you do have Stacy in the room. How would you evaluate his first week with the program?
Yeah, I like Stacy. Stacy's going to be great, man. He's going to be a dog. There's some times in the scrimmage where, me, RJ, and Johnny and Penny pulled him aside and, hey, man, do this better, do that better. And my God, he went back out there and it was night and day. You know what I mean? So, he's going to be real good. Hopefully he comes along and, he might play this year. I don't know.
What's the biggest adjustments, or what are you looking for when you compare running outside zone compared to inside zone and having to kind of get back into adjusting to running a different style?
I'll start with how they're the same. You have to be patient in both schemes. It's more so outside zone. It's more so you kind of know if this cut isn't here, it's always going to be there. It's the way outside zone is. It's just one straight line. How they're different is, you got to be more, I guess you could say, aggressive attacking the line. You know what I mean? Because there's some linemen that can fall off and get you here and there. But there's similarities and differences. But they're like the difficulty level. They're pretty much the same. There's stuff you have to do, but obviously nothing different but footwork. So. Thank you.